Good morning. It's February the 10th, 2017. Time to kick off another trading day with our customary disclaimer. Hypothetical simulated performance results have certain limitations. Unlike actual performance records, simulated results do not represent actual trading. Also, since the trades have not been executed, the results may have under or overcompensated for the impact, if any, of certain market factors such as lack of liquidity. Simulated trading programs in general are also subject to the fact that they are designed with the benefit of hindsight. No representation is being made that any account will or is likely to achieve profit or losses similar to those shown. Okay, we're going to start off with treasuries as we normally do. This is a post-auction day. That typically would bring in a pause day. The institutional demand for cash treasuries has been satisfied, and the dealers have to balance their books, and that usually takes the two major players out of the market. So it takes a piece of news to move the market out of this band, and that piece of news today probably is the direction of the E-mini. The economic news out of China, imports and exports were higher than forecast, even though there was some front loading done for the Chinese New Year, as there normally is. That was taken as positive. The economic news, except for France, out of the EU and the UK, was higher than forecast in industrial production, employment, construction, manufacturing production, etc. So the economic news coming out of Europe is showing stronger than forecast growth, like the economies might be starting to take off. So every place we look, the economic news is starting to come in a little bit better than forecast. Perhaps the global economy is turning up. Major corporations are sitting on tons of cash. And what has been missing to a great deal has been business capital expenditures, business growth, business investment in their companies and infrastructure. Most of their investment has gone to manipulating their stock prices by borrowing money, buy back their stock programs, not increasing their physical plants. So if we get optimism, if the sentiment stays what it is, then the economy can actually start to grow. Trump received a major setback last night. It is nice to know that every person in the world right now has the same rights we do as conveyed by our Constitution on them. The United States has to recognize that anybody in the world now has the same constitutional rights as our people do. Be these citizens of other countries. It's absolutely nuts. Our country has, in a great many respects, has lost control of its destiny. And it's been taken over by forces that are against the American ideal and idea. So we'll have to see how that sorts itself out anyway. Trump's ban from 7 nations who represent 15% of the world's Muslim population has been turned down by politically inclined judges in Washington State and California, and that's the way that it is. And the courts are our only recourse, and which means we have no recourse. And now it's going to go to a 4-4 split in the Supreme Court, and don't hold your breath on that one. Okay, we have a B yesterday. We have a weak close. We have a B overnight. The market is pointed lower. We have an attractor down here at 14.5 to 18. So this 14 to 18 is probably pretty good support if we can get through 20. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put 16 to 20 is buy 1, and 9 to 13 is buy 2. On the sell side, 25 to 29 puts us inside the overnight session high right here. And then 31 to 03. The news today, import prices plus 0.2. No one pays any attention to it. Plus 0.1 for export prices. I'd like to have it going the other way. Consumer sentiment, which is the piece of news they'll pay attention to, is 98.5. Baker Hughes rig count, I don't know what it's going to be, but last week it was 107.2. My guess is it'll be higher. So the news focus will be consumer sentiment and the direction of the ES. We do live in interesting times. And the propaganda and judiciary, mainstream media, everybody is lined up against Trump, who in a very real way is trying to get us back to conditions where we can get the economic growth that we've always enjoyed in the past. But he's being fought at every level. And that's not going to change. There's a lot of things that Trump has said and proposed to do I don't agree with, and he was not my first choice, but he is our president. 28 to 52 is number 1. 3 to 7, sell 1. 11 to 15, sell 2. On the buy side, 16 to 20 is number 1. 9 to 13, buy 1. 29 to 01, buy 2. Looking at gold. Gold is off. No reason to own gold except for inflation, maybe. So we have had our test at 25. If we can stay above 25, the market can rally back. If 25 comes out, then the attractor's down here in the 13 to 15 area. We've got a low volume number at basically 21. So we've got a kind of a D pattern here with volume riding a little bit to the high side, favoring the high side. So we'll make 20 to 22. The idea that the E-mini might take us up a little bit, buy 1. 14 to 16, buy 2. On the sell side, 28 to 30, sell 1. 33 to 35, sell 2. At the euro. Trending lower, and we had pretty good economic numbers out of the euro, but Trump's announcement yesterday that we would have major tax cuts coming in 2 to 3 weeks and industrial policy changes. And we are the world's growth engine, and China. You know, in Europe they're ecstatic if they can get growth rates over 1%. That's almost a recession. So, China, Japan, the other parts of the world outside of Europe, the UK now will be the growth engines. Okay, right here, 60.52. Last rotate up stopped at that, so 50 to 55, sell 1. 75 to 85, sell 2. On the buy side, let's try for 106.25, buy 1. And 106 even, buy 2. The EU still, and the European Central Bank still wants the euro lower so they can export outside of the European Union. That's their long-term objective. That has not changed. And generally central banks prevail. Okay, last night the IEA came out and said that OPEC members are 90% are within compliance, and they raised their demand for crude usage around the world 2017, and crude reacted the way that you would expect it to. So right now it stops above 54 and a quarter. And 54.50 right up here would take us, allow us to get stops up here, 54.50, 54.75, sell 2. On the buy side, 53 and a quarter, 53.50, buy 1. Pretty aggressive. 52.75, 53 even, buy 2. We do, that through the looking glass, we do live in Lewis Carroll got it right. I mean, he couldn't probably envision some of this stuff. Words are what I mean them to be when I use them at that moment in time. Laws are what can conveniently be changed or altered when I want them to be. It's like living under a tyrant in a lot of ways. These tyrants collectively wear black robes. All go to the same schools, all in that Washington, D.C., Boston corridor, all educated by the same professors. Similar mindset, and it ain't conservative. It's liberal. Okay, we might have a little profit taking, and if it happens, end of the week profit taking, I would if the market's going to rally today, I expect that end of week profit taking to take place early in the session. Take it down, test support, knock the week length out, and bring it back for a higher close this afternoon than we had yesterday. We closed at 425. I don't see anything that's going to stop the market from trading higher. I'm guessing probably the next pretty good band of resistance is going to be in that 23.35 area. You'd think it'd be at a quarter, but they've been able to get stops above a quarter. So if you're along the 2300 calls like we talked about, you should roll those to the 23.25 calls, or if you want to save some money, roll them to the 23.50 and await the next big move up. That's how the game is played. Import-export prices up 0.2 for import prices, up 0.1 for export prices. Consumer sentiment 98.5. That's positive. Baker Hughes rig count 1072 last. Imagine it's going to be greater today. News focus 98.5. The dynamics of profit taking by the trading community, not large institutions, is the dynamic that could take us back down to 23.03, which is the first little band of support. So our first buy is 2300, 2303, buy 1. 95.97, buy 2. I'm not really interested in the sell side. That's been the case, but 9 to 11 is a possible sell. So sell failure to take out and hold that. And 14 to 16 would be the next spot. 15 points from 2303 takes us to 2318. That's 15 points right there. 20 points takes us to 23. So 18 to 23 is definitely within reach today. Okay, it's going to take a bit to get everything up and posted and running. I will get back with you as soon as I can.